So hello and welcome to the Bellwether Ritual live stream, where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley, PA music scene, bands, social media, and more. Today is Wednesday, March 8th. My name is Mike. I am the vocalist and guitarist of Bellwether Ritual, and hope you all had a good week. This week we have Taylor, Zach, Paulie, and Chad of Gravel Gutt. Self-described, a little bit of blues, a little bit of punk, and a lot of attitude. They are a Pennsylvania outlaw blues band who have been together for about 2 years, and they have a new single out now called Psychobilly Drives the Bus. We had the opportunity to play with the guys back in October, and I was an instant fan, so I'm excited to have you guys on. Thanks for joining us, guys. How you doing today?
You're doing great. Fantastic. Appreciate you having us.
I appreciate you all piling in here and, making this work here. Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to plug, like, right off the top? I know you have that new single out. Was that, like, a recent release? Or any?
Yeah, so that's the most current release. We are going to have another single coming up shortly. It's called Ghoul Car.
All right, break.
And the B-side on that is going to be Mercy Kill.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember that one. Did you guys play that live?
We played both of them.
All right, cool. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, both great tunes, and that's going to be coming up, like, real soon. So, yeah.
Right. I think it's just coming down to some artwork now. Yeah, I think it's all recorded, ready to go, and
yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. Are you guys from the area originally?
We are. So we're actually, Zach, myself, and Chad all graduated from Emmaus.
Oh.
And,
I'm Liberty High School, Bethlehem.
Same here.
So,
But now we all currently reside in Bethlehem, so we're super local.
All right.
To each other. Anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, all four of us.
Emily, thanks for joining. Yeah, cool. All right, so, like, was there a thing... like growing up, or was there like some kind of catalyst that originally got you guys into music, like a band or a person in your life that kind of opened the door for you in that regard?
Yeah, so growing up, I definitely came from a musical family. I mean, specifically, my father played guitar, so there were always guitars in the house growing up, which is kind of how I picked it up, obviously. My mother, she's a multi-instrumentalist. She plays piano and flute. And actually, interesting fact that I don't even know if these guys know, my great uncle actually is a charting musician. He was on the the Christian contemporary charts. He has a song called "Stand Up for America" that actually charted.
Are you guys going to cover that?
Yeah, now that you mention it, there was no plans until 2 seconds ago. Go America.
But really, yeah, it was just having the guitars in the house, and almost when you're into rock music and metal music, there's almost that draw where you see someone who reminds you of yourself, and you can almost say, I could do this. Specifically, I remember learning power chords and just kind of going up and down the fretboard. I figured out Beat on the Brat by the Ramones on my own. And I said, that was the moment where I said, I can do this. And then it just kind of went from there. So, I have a similar thing going on there. Yeah, sorry about that. So, like, I'm the drummer in Gravel Gutt, by the way. So there's a lot of family members I have that are also drummers. My grandfather and his brothers, that's my great uncle, are both drummers that played, considerable amounts of drums. And then my uncle on the other side of the family is also a drummer. And I got, like, multiple cousins that play drums. So it's kind of in my bones, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of rhythm.
Yeah, so we... They had this set up. My uncle's name is Brian, so they had this thing called Brian Stock every year, and they bring in a whole bunch of local bands. And I was probably like 5 years old when that started going up. And they let me sit behind the kit, and that's pretty much how I got my feet in the musical world there. Pretty cool though.
Yeah. Very cool. Yep. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, yeah, it's always all about fucking rock and roll, man, metal. I remember, like, my mom was super young. She had me. I was like 17 when she had me. She was super young, and it's like early 80s, so she's into, like, the arena rockers, because, like, she's 17, 18, 19. I'm a little kid, so, like, I'm always just hearing, like, Queen and Rush and like Floyd and Sabbath and Zeppelin, and you know, my uncles and aunts are all in their 20s, they're all in the same shit, so it just was always like ever present, just like the classic, you know, the classic rockers and shit. I just always loved it. I was just obsessed with like bands and like watching MTV in like the 80s and early 90s, and just the way bands looked, and they just looked so cool to me with their long hair and their tattoos, and like they're drunk and smoking cigarettes. And
I wanted to
I just thought it looked so fucking cool, and just the sound of a distorted guitar just buzzing was so cool. And I remember being like 9 or 10 watching like either Headbangers Ball or 120 Minutes like late at night when I wasn't supposed to be watching TV, and just seeing like, you know, everyone say what you will about Metallica, but you know, back in like 91, I saw the video for One for the first time when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I just remember this like black and white shot of them like in this like big warehouse just like headbanging. And I just thought it was the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, just headbanging with long hair, and that was it. That's what I'm doing, you know. And then like, I just begged for a guitar and finally got one when I was like 14, and then that's all I wanted to do, man.
Yeah, very cool. Robbie is a cop. Thanks for joining. Zach, you actually hit on something that we were talking about last week too, with being able to.
That wouldn't be without Ray, would it?
Yes, it would. Ray from Wipes.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Real Smurf, thanks for joining. Murph's in Stillcraft. We did a gig with them a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. So shout out to him. What else here? Wetter, thanks for joining. I'm sorry if I butcher your names. I'm just trying to read them all through here. Yes. Zach, you had mentioned something about learning, like seeing someone do it and being able to be like, I can do that too. When we were talking about it last week, for me, it was one of my friends had a kit guitar that he put together himself, and they brought it over to show it to me and played like Come As You Are like in 2 seconds and taught it to me in even less time, and I was able to play it right away, and I was like, oh my god, this is attainable. And that kind of just broke the door down right away. And you know, from there it was just like, all right, well, this isn't as difficult as it seems, and it just kind of snowballs from there. So it sounds like you had a similar story there.
Yeah, you know, that's the other thing when you say about that, a riff that simple, is that really not that I'm telling, not that I'm always gonna tell people who are learning out there to shoot for the stars, do as good as you can. But it really only takes fundamentals to you know, when you say what's a good guitar player, you could say it's Yngwie Malmsteen or you could say it's Kurt Cobain. They're both good guitar players, but they obviously do very different things, and it really comes down to just what sounds good to the, you know, the people, the listeners.
Totally. And I think taste is like a big thing that people kind of sleep on. I want to actually touch on this a little bit too, because you guys have, your songs are like super compact and like simple. So I mean, and I don't mean simple in a bad way. Like, to me, there's the initial part of being a musician where you're trying to learn and be as technical as you can, but then ultimately it comes, to me anyway, comes full circle when you kind of mature, and really it becomes about how simply can you deliver something that people can get and you kind of vibe with.
Yeah. And I think that's a big point of, you know, what we were trying to go for as a band. I mean, we were all metalheads and have been in multiple metal bands. But this project, Baton Death March and Bastard Seed, South Hajime, what's your band? Kotetsu. Well, among many other bands. But yeah, so we decided to go a little on the simpler aspect, but it's so much more fun, you know, to be able to write something that's going to immediately hit you in the face, that you're like, anyone can enjoy it immediately. You know, you don't have to like think too hard about it, you know what I'm saying?
That takes,
as a listener.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of skill. I think it gets kind of overlooked sometimes too, because to me it's hard to be simple, especially with a group of people, like you're trying to do art together. There's always a tendency of like, I want to try to throw everything in there and pack it full, but really, I think when you strip it back and being simple, that's really what really connects with people. Yeah. So how did the band start? Like, was it did you have the idea first? Did you guys just kind of get together and this is what you created? How did that start?
So it wasn't the idea. So the actual origin of the band was, I would wager a bet that every interview you've done, the band has always started during COVID.
Many of them have, yes.
So not to be redundant, but so actually maybe like 5 years ago, my father built me it's a handmade cigar box guitar, and it was a Christmas gift.
Literally made out of cigar box.
Yeah, it's a 3-string cigar box.
It's like made out of, and like the neck is what?
Just like a piece of wood. A piece of wood that he shaped out.
You got bolts.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like tuning tags. So just literally that of like random just shit made into a guitar, and a working, perfectly awesome sounding.
Yeah. So I had this guitar laying around, and I had always jammed on it, but I never really did anything with it. So prior to Gravel Gutt, the four of us had always done it was a Halloween cover show, which a lot of places do, where you go as
St. Bernard on the south side.
Yeah, you go as a band. We did Motorhead, we did White Zombie, and Judas Priest. Those were the 3 different bands we did.
And Rage too.
That wasn't this. That was Louis stuff.
That was a different genre, but we did Rage once.
But anyway, so because they canceled the show, they had canceled the show of the during COVID. I kind of thought we should do something to keep, because I didn't want us to drift apart and stop playing together. So I started.
We only played once a year.
We were all friends, but we only played once.
Yeah, we were all friends. We'd hang out. We would play this one show a year, so we would play like a month or 2 to practice, and then the show. But yeah, so COVID comes, and we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
We can't play the show. What are we gonna do?
Right. So I started to write some songs on that cigar box guitar, which again, it's 3 strings. It's tuned to a power chord. So that sort of almost forced them into the direction that they ended up going in, of being so simple. And then I brought them to these guys. I think Chad was in a bunker at the time. But
Chad was the deepest in the bunker.
He called out later. But I brought them to these guys. And originally it was just going to be a studio-only project.
Okay, great.
We were going to get them done, like bang the songs out as fast as we could, just get them recorded for fun, and that was going to be it.
On a 4-track, like, Cape Deck recorder.
Yeah, but then I think we all enjoyed them so much that we realized we should do something with it.
Yeah, and it very quickly evolved out of the cigar box guitar.
Yeah.
And I was going to, just play on a really simple kit with some brushes and, like, real easy kind of simplicity, just a hi-hat, kick, and snare, stripped down, yeah, absolutely. But, the more we were practicing on it, the more it turned into, like, let's get a little, distortion involved. Let's make it real, and
we couldn't resist. We were like, this would be a simple thing for fun, and then we started liking it. We're like, God damn it, this has turned into a thing.
And that's the other thing, is that even though the original plan was to have a really stripped down bass, it was just to be like hand percussion, just a cigar box guitar, do a washed up bass. But I think because our real tastes and influences just naturally seeped into it the way it always seems to go. Right. And that's how it kind of ended up the way it is.
For sure. Very cool. Josh Burke, thanks for joining. Randy, Matt, thanks for joining. If you guys have questions for the guys, drop them in the comments and we will get to them. So touching on your style, it's for the area, I think it's pretty different. And let's see here. What other questions I have? Okay. So Dinosaur versus Human Fly was the record you put out. When was that? Maybe about 2021, I think.
I didn't know.
It was actually released exactly a year ago, pretty much.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then it's a kind of like if it's not a concept record, it's very conceptual. Where did that kind of come from?
So the song, it actually just kind of happened by accident, because we had maybe 5 original tunes at that point, And we'd also learned a couple covers, which happened to be Dinosaur by Link Ray and Human Fly by the Cramps, who are two of our big influences for this band.
Yeah.
So, and then we were, at some point, one of us realized, wait a minute, so we have a dinosaur and we have a human fly. And obviously they're going to fight. Yeah. So that's how that concept came about.
Yeah, we're all, comic book nerds. And
Yeah, same here.
Kind of what, the album artwork over here evolved into, after a while. You realize that it's two large beings going after each other. Why not make it a comic book? So,
yeah, I love that.
The two originals on there as well that I think are still fantastic songs. We definitely will.
The two originals on there I think are the two first songs we kind of wrote and worked on.
Saltwater Grave.
Yeah, Saltwater Grave and Bloodstained Tick Bites, which that's actually the first one I think I did lyrics. Those are two of the songs that, like you were saying before, this was really taking off. Zach was just writing shit on the cigar box guitar, and he would record it and email it to us because it was COVID and we couldn't see each other. So the two songs, the two originals on that little EP, are songs that were written on cigar box guitar, emailed to us separately that we just kind of listened to and dick around with. That just sort of turned into actual, songs with actual guitars and drums.
OG.
Yeah, this is some OG Gravel Gutt.
Nice.
Damn near 2 years old.
Let's see. Robbie is a cop has a question. Best cheesesteak in the valley.
Yeah,
in the valley. Well, I can tell you what's not the best cheesesteak in the valley.
Oh, go for it.
With kids, overrated. Can I say something real quick? I'm a chef professionally by trade. I want to talk about fast food. I tell you what's not good. Hey, Whiz Kids, good for you. You got a good location, a good gimmick, but your cheesesteaks aren't that good.
I like Zandy's. Zandy's is an old classic, for sure. We grew up in Emmaus, and I always thought Armetta's made a really good cheesesteak. I don't know if it's the best in the valley. It's really hard to say what's the best cheesesteak in the valley. There's so many. All you can really say is what's the standouts are the terrible ones.
Yeah, the best cheesesteak is usually whatever your favorite local pizzeria is. Westgate Pizza's got a mighty fine cheesesteak.
There's a problem here. Nobody's mentioned OG Yakko's, because it has changed. It has changed.
It has. And Yakko's has its own unique thing going on because they put that sauce on everything.
And the pickle.
Well, that's the Lehigh Valley.
And I think, and because we're all in Bethlehem, I think it's a state we haven't mentioned Carl's Corner.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Carl's Corner. Yeah.
It's a great question, Mike.
And also, hoagies are better than cheesesteaks anyway.
That was Robbie is a cop. Robbie's a cop also.
Yeah. Robbie is a pseudonym for Tile Mike.
Oh, shit.
Me, right, gotcha. He says Whiz Kids is complete junk. I agree. All right, cool. Stan Chan 8 joined. Thank you for joining.
Oh, Stan the man.
Any questions, drop them down for the boys and we'll get to them. Yeah, okay, cool. Can you talk a little bit about, I think you touched a little bit on the recording process there. Any kind of stories or anything? You were basically building that by trading tracks, or did you go somewhere to record that one?
No.
We are our own recording studio right here.
So I would say I'm the recording engineer in the band, if you'd like to call it.
Regular Rick Rubin over here.
I'm a regular Dick Dubin. But no, so and this is almost another throwback to just things that I had bought. Actually, it was at Chris Reject of he has I think he's Square Proposition Records. I don't know if they're still around. But they had a moving out sale that I bought it was a Tascam. It was the most bare bones Tascam. I think it's the PF01. I think it's the model. It was the most bare bones 4-track cassette recorder. And I had bought it. I never used it for anything. And then when we started work, and then obviously when we're talking bare bones, a bare bones band, that immediately came into my mind, we should record this on 4-track. So yeah, the Dinosaur versus Human Fly was done entirely on 4-track cassette.
Awesome.
awesome. And the other thing that's pretty neat is, it's all like live takes. There's no cutting and pasting. There's no cutting. So if you listen to that, and the best way to listen to it, obviously, is on cassette, because it's recorded on cassette. So you're getting that, real feel going on with that.
So you guys are all simultaneous? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No,
it's not like a live recording, but each track is essentially like a live.
Yeah, everything was overdubbed. Drums, bass, guitar, vocals. But okay, so I do have a funny story about recording that. So I don't really have a lot of studio gear. I mostly use like plugins and stuff when I use a DAW.
Yep.
But anyway, so when we did Paulie's vocals, the song "Saltwater Grave" has there's a delay effect on certain lines in the song of his verses. So I actually plugged him into a Boss delay pedal.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then because the delay effect's not on every line. So as he was doing the vocal, I was on the floor clicking the pedal on and off. And
I'm surprised it didn't get picked up on the recording.
Yeah, you hear the click because I was in such like a fever pitch because I didn't want to mess it up. I started to click too hard, and you definitely hear a click. You can hear the pedal clicking in the recording.
Now I'm only ever going to hear that every single time I listen to it.
Part of the charm.
So listen close. It's very rough.
There you go. Go back and take a listen and see if you can pick it up. Pamp, Chef, Beth, thanks for joining. Deep Pockets, Jordan, thanks for joining. You got any questions? Drop them in the chat there, and we'll get to them. Paul, let's talk about your vocals a little bit, since we kind of got on that track there. It's like very, I guess, like baritone, or even maybe some like bass there. Is that something that's like your natural style, or is that something like when you heard the music, like that's what kind of came out?
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely, like, that's what came out. Just when I heard the music, I got this idea of, like, where should I go with, like, the vocals? Because I can't really sing. I'll be the first man. I'm not much of a singer, but I am a writer. I'm praising myself. I'm a chef. I did go to college and got my degree in writing, so like a writer is always what I've been first. I've always been like good at writing, so it's like really been what I'm comfortable with. So like doing lyrics is like really what I can bring to the table. So like with this band, I was thinking like, fuck, we're doing like this sort of twangy Southern blues, rockabilly, and so like things like, I don't particularly like Devil Came Out of Georgia. In fact, I hate that fucking song, but like the vocal style on that, I was just like talking and doing the storytelling talking thing, and then you got like all this George Thorogood, the one verb on Scotch, one beer. You're just doing this like sort of Southern talking style, and I was like, well, I could just go into like this low register and just kind of do a talking, like a rhythmically talking, like storytelling. So as far as like the vocal style, I didn't like not being able to sing, but being really good at writing lyrics. I had to find that balance between like, how the fuck can I get these lyrics out there when I can't sing?
It's the cigarette.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Those like not quite a pack a day. There's just 20 cigarettes in a pack, so I'm at like 17 a day. So you gotta have that like rasp and that low twang. But that was sort of, as far as the vocal style goes, it also ties in with like the sort of the theme with all the lyrics, is how with each song, with the lyrics, I just want each song to kind of be its own little like self-contained little story, just a little story being told, and sort of the spirit of like the old like folksy Southern singer-songwriters who just kind of tell a story in their songs. I figure I'll just do this sort of rhythmic speaking. It's gravel style. It's gravelly. It's gravelly, and it comes from the gut. Kind of like Gravel Gutt. So really, I guess that's what the vocal style is. Just me trying to compensate for the fact that I can't sing.
I don't really compensating for anything. I mean, it sounds really well, you know, with the music, and we call it gritty outlaw blues at times, and I think, you know, a lot of the grit comes from his vocals.
Yeah.
So it works out fantastically.
Yeah, and like I looked to when we were first starting this, I really looked to with Nirvana Unplugged, Where Do You Sleep last night. I was like, man, that song's so dope, and he really can't like sing it that good, but it doesn't matter because it sounds so fucking good because it's such like a great story being told, and he's belting it out so well, and it's like twangy and kind of harsh on the ear. But yeah, you know, I look to like that, like George Thorogood and whoever the fuck does the devil came out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks anyway. Fuck him.
I can't stand by that. Yeah, that is totally his opinion.
Hasn't been Primus do a version of that?
Yeah, they did.
So we were influenced by the Primus version.
But yeah, man, nothing against Charlie Gale. He's a fine man, and nothing
He's on
against his fans. But
next
yeah, that's
week,
what
I'll ask him. Yeah.
So
that's between two arch enemies here.
that's where it's coming from with vocals, just talking singer-songwriter sort of style, you know.
All right. Robbie Zakop says, where can I hear this band? It's hard to leave my house with two gremlins running around.
Okay, so that's a simple question. Chad, I'll let you feel that question because it's a very simple answer.
You could go to gravelgutt.com. That's Gravel Gutt, G-U-T-T.
Gravel Gutt with two
T's, like butt. Yeah. but it's gut. It's gut. But gut. So if you went there, that would take you to our Bandcamp, and I'm sure that has.
And we're on all the
things.
We're on all the streaming sites as well. Whatever you stream, YouTube.
And we've got stuff on
Yeah, we
YouTube.
currently don't have any shows booked though. Not right now.
We'll have to change that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're focused more on recording.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Gravel Butt was taken, and you decided to switch it up.
Exactly. I think exactly how we came to.
I like the way that gut looks sort of like butt. I mean, butts are nice. Why not? Butts are nice. Why not?
Yeah,
gut?
true.
Yeah, Gravel Gutt. If you look at a little bit at the name origin.
Okay,
Oh, we're peeling back.
We're gonna answer the question you didn't even ask.
Okay.
I was getting there.
Okay, so I think I came up with that one. So
A while.
it did take us a while. Although, do we have any other? Were there alternatives?
American Space Coyote.
American Space Coyote was an alternative, and that's trademarked, and nobody can say.
Yeah, don't keep these away from free.
Yeah, I trademarked that already, so don't wait.
We're gonna go with American Space Coyote.
But anyway, so I was watching because this is on everybody's mind at the time, and I was watching an episode of King of the Hill when Hank and Bobby rent an 18-wheeler tractor-trailer truck to deliver a small load of furniture to his mother in Arizona.
And it's their Christmas special too.
Yeah,
That's
the B plot is that Peggy is trying to write her own Christmas song in the vein of Grandma got run over by a reindeer as like a money making.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, over the credits,
during the credits,
they actually play the song that she wrote. And one of it's very convoy-ish, but by Conway Twitty. But one of the lines is Gravel Gutt Ben and One Eyes Mona. And when I heard Gravel Gutt, I'm like, that's it. That's perfect.
yeah.
And then actually also, and then we also discovered later that Gravel Gutt, I think, is a line in Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue. Because I believe the line is, he says, when you've got gravel in your gut and spit in your eye.
Nice.
Which is a little bit more legit, but we got it from King of the Hill.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Meatball Jr., thanks for joining. Book of Beard, thanks for joining. Bax Mojo 2, thanks for joining. Angel Gable, thanks for joining. Okay, I want to get back to what Paul said about lyrics and kind of like being conceptual with that. Is that something like, or do you wait to get music and then like see kind of where that leads you? Like it like sparks something in you and you're like, that sounds like...
Yeah. I would say for the most part, the music comes first. But like, you gotta always sort of have like a back catalog of just like some like categories that you think would be good. A good example is for a while there, I thought like, man, we have room for like something surfy. You know, we got room for like something with a little bit of surf, which we did do for a while. But then I also thought, man, like what are like just some topics, really fun, like ironic sort of 50s sci-fi horror topics. That's sort of what I look at. Like you got to look towards like the 40s, 50s. I feel for a lot of lyrics. And I thought like fuck, like robots are a big sci-fi topic, and like surf is a song we haven't done. So I was like, fuck, robot surfing. So I like wrote lyrics about robot surfing in the hopes that one day, like these guys would like write some kind of surfy, and then once they did, I already had that ready to go. It was already in the pocket, ready to go.
Which became a song that isn't released yet. It will be probably.
It will be
here.
Yeah,
Robots can't surf.
Robots can't surf. Yeah, but like for the most part, as far as like where does the concepts come from, I gotta leave like totally wide open to like anything. I usually do like to wait for it to like just have like the exact result of the riff, have them email it to me, and I'll just sit there with my eyes closed and listen to it like 4, 5, 6 times in a row, and then I'll just like write something to it. But yeah, I'd like to have some kind of fun topic to each song. Some of the topics include like the tragedy of a school bus full of kids getting hit by a train in a small town.
That's your newest one, right?
That's Psychobilly Drives the Bus. Yeah, that's what that one's about.
Over right now. A lot of train action going on.
Yeah, especially in Ohio. This one is not set in Ohio. I imagine it'd be sort of like in Nebraska. You know, not to make light of the situation, that's terrible, but we did write it before all that shit happened, so we tend to include it. But yeah, so this one we got coming out now called Mercy Kill, I was just thinking like, you know, we're doing all this sort of like backwoods sounding southern gothic kind of shit. I'm like, what happens in the backwoods? I'm like, roving bands of like cannibals, like raw tooth motherfuckers, and like Appalachia. Yeah, Appalachia was actually what I was thinking. Yeah, and so like Mercy Kill became about like an encampment of booby traps to protect yourself from the cannibals. And it's just fucking ridiculous, but it's not, you know, like I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm not trying to be that fucking serious either. There's like this middle ground with it where like I want just a sort of specific storytelling topic for every song. Ghoul Car, which is coming out. When I first wrote the lyrics, we originally called the song Trophy Room.
That's right.
Yeah, because like the concept I wanted was like about how like serial killers always like trying to keep a trophy of something, like a head or a toe or a memento. Yeah, and so I thought like, oh, what a cool topic for a song. It's just like a serial killer's trophy room. And then I was talking to Zach about it, and we sort of got on the topic of serial killers, and he starts talking about, well, you know, this funny story about Ed Gein. There's a lot of funny stories about Ed Gein, especially the murder. And so Ed Gein, the serial killer in Wisconsin in the 1950s, and Leatherface was loosely based around him. He would like murder people and make shit out of their skin and all this.
Lampshades.
Yeah, lampshades. But anyway, so he gets arrested, goes to jail, and there's this like touring circus carnival promoter in the area who bought Ed Gein's car and sort of put it on display, and he would charge people money and sell tickets to come see the car, and he built it as Ed Gein's Ghoul Car.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, what a stupid, ridiculous thing, because it's just a fucking car that the serial killer owned, and this asshole bought it and charged people money to see it. And so the idea
we're charging people money.
So this idea about like a serial killer's trophy room with this idea about this asshole who charged people money to see a serial killer's car, and it turned into Ghoul Car. So it's just our song. I don't like it to involve fucking myself in the lyrics. You will find no personal pronouns in Gravel Gutt lyrics. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
No, but that's always the theme in your lyrics. Even in past.
Yeah, no I, me, or my.
I used to have a rule about that, yeah.
Yeah, no I, me, or by, because I don't give a shit about other people's fucking feelings and their fucking lyrics. So why do I give a I also don't give a shit about, like, everyone writes about love and relationships and heartbreak, all this fucking shit that everyone writes about. And, like, who gives a shit? Like, everything's been done. So let's just, like, focus on, like, just some fun, specific little weird story angle. And that's what our lyrics are about. Just pick some weird little story topic and just write about it. And that's,
Cool.
That's what we're talking about.
And I think a lot of it comes, Zach will write a lot of riffs first, and there's definitely times where he'll throw out a riff, and this guy's right behind it, like, I got some lyrics for that,
Yeah.
Shit. And yeah, we've been playing there so long, we know each other really well. Yeah, it happens frequently. Yeah.
The best ones do. Are you the news reporter on that one song, like kind of in the middle? Like, how'd that come about? Oh, nice.
I was doing the news report. I disguise my voice a little bit and pretend I'm a voice actor here and there. But actually, like, I think everyone kind of gets a little bit of a voice in there. You do the KAT radio.
Yeah, I do the bumper at the end. Chad does the introduction, and then Taylor's the anchorman.
Yeah, I am the anchorman.
Cool.
Yeah, we can't give Paulie all of the vocal spots.
Yeah, I got plenty of my voice out there.
Let's see here. Chemistry, like, when you guys are playing together, like, how important is that? Something that kind of happened right off the bat, or was that something that took a little time to develop?
Well, yeah, actually, Zach and I played like a couple random shows a while back, so like we were pretty comfortable with each other. But I think these two have been playing in bands for like 20 years now.
So Chad and I actually had our first band ever together in high school.
Oh,
Hello Dracula. It was called Hello Dracula. So we've been friends, I mean, literally since, 2002, I want to say.
Yeah.
So we have like that, we just know each other inside and out. So that's where that comes from.
You said it. Whatever. And these two right here, Paulie and Zach, were also in another band together. So so chemistry. Yeah. I think that we're all damn good friends at this point, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So we definitely have some great chemistry, and I think it shows in our live performances because. Yeah, even if there is, whether it be a technical difficulty or just a fault of one of our own, we're always able to just get right back into it. And, you give it, exactly. There's no union issues with this train.
The callback, sir.
Yeah, I think you said it right, Zach. We know each other inside and out.
Inside and out. All over around.
D. Karalfi, thanks for joining. Sorry I butchered your name there. Robbie's a cop with another question. Did we talk about the license plate already? Real, does a member have that on their F-150?
Goddamn block bogey. So yes, it is real. You can keep your eye out for it. If you want to vandalize the vehicle that it's on, feel free. No, it's not real. I had it. That was it. That's a little ridiculous, I think. So I just had some company printed up for it. It's for fun.
Cool.
We got to have some shameful self-promotion. Oh, no, this is shameless. Shame self-promotion. Yeah. We're not ashamed. No shame here. It's not a big license plate.
Yeah.
And we couldn't even spell it right. We forgot several vowels. Damn, you figure it out.
Oh, Fucks Band. I think that's how I pronounce it. Thanks for joining. Let me know if I'm right on that one. So one thing I noticed about your guys' recording, even with the new single Psychobilly Drives the Bus, is that you use kind of like cool recording techniques like Human Fly. You have the sound of a fly kind of go from one ear to the other. Psychobilly Drives the Bus, you say the word stop, and then like everyone stops. You're talking about on the tracks or whatever, everyone stops, and then the train comes through.
We'll never stop in the middle of the
Yeah.
And then you got the train go. Hey, man, Zach's meticulous. Zach does all these little fucking details when we're not around.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really...
It adds texture.
That's it.
God, it's so important.
That's it. It's texture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, a lot. If you want to hear it live, either come to a show or, you know, when we put out a live recording, listen to that. But I just think that there's that. And I don't think we really distort our sound in any way. I mean, what we sound like on our studio recording is what we're going to sound like live for the most part. But I just think it's those bells and whistles that just make it pop more.
Spice.
Yeah,
A little bit of spice that makes everything extra nice.
Exactly.
Putting the spring in Springfield, right, Zach?
Yeah, exactly.
So, how about, are you guys like, are you gearheads at all? I know, like you're using, are you really?
Yeah. So you guys can go and
I'm going for a cigarette.
No, but anyway, so yeah, I'm a gearhead.
Because I do hear like I'm hearing a lot of like tremolo, a lot of different kind of effects. Is that something like you're getting inspired by? You grab a piece of gear and get inspired by that, or are you like, hey, you know what would fit really well here, and go try to find that thing?
I would say it's definitely the latter. Mm-hmm. I mean, occasionally I'll be inspired by the effect, but I would say for the most part it's just to add flavor.
Yeah, it's a taste thing as well, right? Like you can easily overdo it really quickly if you don't kind of keep it in check.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the style just below 8.
Yes.
So here's kind of a random thing. You guys didn't strike me too much as like a band that got like stage fright or anything like that. But is there anything? Do you ever get like nervous before you go on or anything like that? Or is it like old hat at this point?
I think we're more nervous for this interview than yeah. I think one damn thing wrong, man. We're all pretty fearless going up there, right? Yeah. I don't think any of us are like the most confident people in the world, but goddamn, we're all totally fine with going up there, man.
I think it's just the fact that we're all seasoned. You know, we've all been in bands, we've all been in multiple bands, you know, over the past, you know,
we've all played,
decade plus.
Yeah,
so
we've played on like shitholes in front of nobody.
Yeah,
we played in like decent places in front of a decent crowd and everything in between.
And I think the other thing is, if we weren't in this band, we'd probably all be damn big fans of the band. So we're like just thrilled to.
I'd be very resentful of this.
Okay. Well, either way, we enjoy it. So we want to show this to the people out there.
Yeah.
And so we're just excited to do it.
Right? A little stage fright. I think a lot of the time too, like I don't blame any band being fucking nervous when they go out there. But too, because I know that like these other three know exactly what the fuck they're doing and they're not going to fuck up. I know we're on the same page. It's just like, and I know that even if we do slip up and fuck up, we're just so on the same page. So just fucking like practicing so much, like we practice 200% more than we play live shows, you know what I mean? Like we practice so much and like you get to know each other so well that you have absolutely no reason to be nervous. You know what I mean?
Yep. Bands 15, thanks for joining. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, it's okay. And the other thing is that aside from being seasoned, I think Taylor and I are definitely like, I would say natural musicians. And because Chad and I have played together for so long,
yeah,
I can almost just give him a glance and he'll know what's on my mind, while we're playing. So that helps too.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like sometimes when I do these kind of things, and I kind of struggle with it a little bit myself still, and like some of the advice I get is like, well, it's not, sometimes people go up there and it's just them, and then sometimes people feel like they can not get in a character kind of, but like almost be a personification of themselves. Is that something that you guys try to, like, are you doing that, or are you just kind of getting up there as yourself and letting it rip?
Yeah, definitely go up there as ourselves, definitely. But yeah, I absolutely like when I'm up on stage, like in between songs, and like you just gotta kind of do a little banter, like between the mic. I typically wouldn't do or say that kind of shit, just like in public. You know, I'm relatively just like reserved and shit.
But being on stage is the one time you can do whatever you want to be.
Yeah, you do get that little bit of like all like your sort of all your you got like endorphins and serotonin and all that positive shit. It's just like your brain's releasing all these like chemicals and like adrenaline. So yeah, I mean, like whether you want to or not, it's sort of out of your control at that point. Like when you're up there in front of everybody, your brain's like firing a little different. So your inhibitions kind of go down and you're a little more confident, you know, and you fire a little hotter maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it's like pro wrestling, you know, like Stone Cold is just like a souped up version of himself.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So can you just touch on that a little bit too, like the banter in between songs? Because recently, or Stone Cold, yeah. Like, if you want to go deep on Stone Cold, that's fine too. Yeah, I mean, connecting with an audience, I think like it's a weird thing, right? Because you have this break in between songs. You want to try to say something. Like I usually make some notes on the set list or something to make sure I don't forget to like thank other banter stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to like sound like too desperate, like you're trying to be too cool, and like you don't want to sound like you're trying to be like every other lead singer you've ever heard in every live album who talks in between songs. You know, like I've heard a couple like fucking Pearl Jam live albums where he better talks for 15 minutes like an asshole. I don't want to do that. And a lot of like going back to what like I was saying before about the lyrics and like the way like every song is sort of just like the self-contained little story. That's what I clung to as far as banter in between songs, like the lead-in. This one, you know, just like you do a thing. Oh, this song's about a school bus full of kids getting hit by a train. You know, and I'm trying to make the joke with last time, like, well, we've been doing some heavy shit, so we're gonna try to lighten the mood a little bit. This next one's about a school bus full of kids getting hit by a train. You know,
it always does.
Yeah. So yeah. As far as the banter in between, as far as with this band, I try to keep it light, impersonal, and just like about what the next song's going to be about.
Introductory.
Yeah, introductory as far as that, if I'm some like, old-timey Southern singer, songwriter, storyteller, what would I say this next one's about? So actually what this band's doing really helps with that like in-between song banter, because you can just talk about what the next song's going to be and just skip all the, hey, how you doing bullshit,
Yeah, it's a great
round of applause. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm sure you're fine.
No, I mean, when I in any band that I've ever been in, definitely I try to imagine, I try to almost visualize what is the crowd seeing when I'm up there.
Interesting.
And what I don't want to do is, I don't want to be one of those bands that just stands, completely still, and they don't, they look like they're having no fun. They don't want to be, almost as if they don't want to be there. In that case, just stay home and listen to the album. And I understand it could be like it could be a skill issue. I remember standing completely still, when I first started playing, but if you can do it, go for it, have fun, and that, I think the crowd will definitely connect with that a little bit more, because they can tell you're giving it the effort.
Yeah, if you're having a good time, they can have a good time.
I think that also kind of
hit the nail on the head earlier when you said, a personification of yourself. Absolutely. You're on stage. You want to perform to a crowd, and you exaggerate some of the things that you normally do a little bit to make it be a showman.
Yeah, it's a heightened version.
As the drummer, like during the song, I just make a lot of really dumb faces. That's really all I can do. All my other lips are being used, so I'm just very expressive with my face.
There you go. I was going to ask you if you have any any drum or guitar moves that you do. Oh shit! What was Oh yeah. So that's another reason. Just to call back to being like simple and tasteful too. I really think that kind of lends itself to like. I know we had a little bit of that problem too, where it's like, oh, I wrote this really cool part, but you can't. You have to sit there and look at your hand when you're playing it. You can't like emote or try to connect with an audience when things get too complicated. So we have to constantly remind ourselves like, keep it simple. So, that's the goal here, connecting with the audience.
But there's always time for, throwing down as hard as you can. I mean, I've got plenty of bits in some of these songs where, I'm pretty technically sound in certain parts. And, in those moments, I'm not looking at the crowd. I'm not, being an idiot with my faces or whatever. But, I'm focused on, hitting that mark.
Yep.
So, there's a balance point. You want to be able to throw out your best musicianship, but also throw out that showmanship as well. So,
yeah. No,
well put.
There's a time to play for it. I think it's the bottom line.
Yeah. Do you guys and maybe unconsciously, but do you call your shots? Like, hey, I want to take a fill here or something like that. Everyone else kind of chill out. I think that's a big thing for us too. Is if we don't communicate those things, sometimes we can step on each other's toes and that sort of thing. Do you guys go that far?
Every once in a while, if anything, Zach will be like, I want a drum solo there. I'm like, no, I'm not doing a drum solo there. and then he wins the argument and I do a freaking drum solo. I got like 2 or 3. And then,
You love doing the drum.
The people like a drum solo.
Yeah, we're not terribly improvisational as far as we don't go into too many crazy jams when we're playing live.
A lot is laid out.
But yeah, we do lay out specific parts for each. There'll be just drum fills, just drum parts where it's silent, just drum, heavy guitar parts, so we do plan it out ahead of time where there will be sections of songs where everyone gets their chance to really just show a lot of flair. But yeah, as far as when it comes to playing live, we don't jam out and just let someone take the lead. It's Zach improvises. It's just Zach.
No, I would say, if anything, near the end of some of the longer songs, we'll get a little fast and loose. But again, it comes we touched on before about that the eye sort of the eye contact communication. They kind of know. If a solo gets extended or whatever, they kind of know when I'm going to kind of finish up.
Wrap it up. Yeah. Oh man, you just hit on something. I can't remember what the follow-up question was. Shit. All right. Anyway, let's skip over. You've been a part of the Lehigh Valley music scene for a while. Is there any? I don't know. What is your impression of it? I feel like it's kind of making a bit of a comeback.
I hate it, and it's a living nightmare. No.
Go on.
So my impression of it, I definitely think it's lost a lot of steam.
Especially with COVID happening.
Yeah, but even before that, I think I would say my maybe milestone for maybe an official drop off. I almost want to say it's when Secret Art Space on Southside closed.
Oh yeah.
And I think a big portion as to why the scene isn't necessarily where we might want it to be anymore. There's not really that many good venues DIY anymore. There used to be a wealth of them, and it just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. I mean, there's a few little spots.
Yeah, I would say also Dracula's Moon Base, which was actually in a warehouse in Allentown,
in tandem with Good Weekend.
Yeah, they flew they had the banner. They kind of took the banner from Secret Art Space, and they kind of flew the flag for a little while, but that folded after a while too. So really, after that, that's when it really kind of
spread out.
It was great. I mean, before that, it was great. I mean, the only thing I'll say is there's definitely some I think some negative. So certain people bring some negativity brought some negativity to the scene that I think hurt it. Mm-hmm. Especially because it's always bothered me. Being, punk and metal, they always, it always advertises itself as this almost like, one for all and all for one. We're the outside. We're the outsiders, so we got to stick together. Yeah. And then when you go to a show like that, everyone stands like this with a big bush on their face, with their goofy glasses, and standing in the corner, and it just bugs the hell out of me. So, why, if the scene, even back then, if the scene had been more cohesive and tight-knit and just welcoming, that would have helped it so much more, and it could actually still be going today.
Yeah, and go ahead. No, that's fine. That's the reason I wanted to start this thing up. It was like COVID was happening. What can we do to like reach out to other bands or people and just kind of try to connect on that level without having a place to go out and do that, And so, all right, one more quick one. We're just about at time, but do you guys have like a preferred? We argue about this all the time. I guess not argue, but we always try to play like as short as set as we can. Do you have like a set length that you think is like kind of the sweet spot?
Depends where we're playing.
I like a 45 minutes time.
45,
That's my favorite time right there.
Yeah, before the fight, especially now, like, not a lot of people know exactly who you are, so they're only willing to put up with you for so long. I feel, post 30-minute mark, they start losing interest.
Yeah,
I feel like the 30-minute mark.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to go too far past the half hour, at least to the point we're at now. Because, like, when no one knows your songs, like, they're into you, and it's exciting for the first, like, 5 or 6, and they say, okay, enough. So, a solid, like, 30 to 45 minutes, at least, when you're, like, a starting band, like, playing live,
Yeah, for sure. And are you guys, sometimes, like, we'll try to book a show, but we have to cover, like, 3 hours. Do you pull other bands into the bill at that point and then break it up that way?
If we have to, but we're closing on the point where we could cover 3 hours by ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're writing a song, throwing a couple covers, pad the set, I mean, that's kind of what we've been working towards, too, with, like, practicing and shit recently, is, like, because, a lot of places kind of want that.
You want to build up that repertoire.
Yeah, so we've been actually, like, working toward, like, trying to get our set as long as possible between originals, mainly originals, I mean, like, 90% originals, throw in, like, 3 or 4 covers in the mix just to, like, stretch out those last 20 minutes.
Yeah, again, I think that kind of goes back to, the DIY scene kind of disappearing. Is that now where you play? You got to play at a bar or like a restaurant or whatever. And a lot of those places want
Cover bands.
Covers, but they also want, if you can't do 8 to 11, they're not even going to look at it. So that's another reason why we're working towards that.
Just really quick, touching on covers, what do you look for? Like, are you just looking for stuff that you enjoy playing? Are you looking for things that people know? Just random stuff? How does that process go?
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah, all big mix of all the above, man. Try to find stuff that like fits our sound. Yeah. We were doing LaGrange by the ZZ Top just because it kind of fit. It kind of fit with the talk, like just the talking vocal style. LaGrange really works.
The current favorite that we're starting to cover is by the Thamesmen.
The Thamesmen, aka Spinal Tap. Give me some money. You guys.
Yeah. That's a great one.
So when they flash back to a black and white with "Give Me Some Money," so we've been doing a cover of that. Like
everybody can relate to.
We all like "Give Me Some Goddamn Money." Maybe that's right.
Yeah, but really, it's just kind of we'll try to cover something that, and that's one of the things I would like to say about not being in a metal band is that, and I'm always gonna love metal. I'm always gonna fly the flag, but it's very liberating to be in a non-metal band because you're stuck in one track when in that kind of, because you do your 9 of your songs are all on the opening string, and then you're either your instrumental or like your clean tone song, and that's it. And with this kind of band, we've been able to fit in so many different influences, but it still managed to gel together. And the thing with
Danzig to Link Ray.
Yeah, and that's the thing with covers. You know, we have LaGrange, which everybody knows, and you hear it every time you turn on the, classic rock radio. But then also we do a weird Link Ray cover that, that is like a super deep cut.
Mm-hmm.
We do a Danzig song that not a lot of people know unless they're Danzig fans.
Mm-hmm.
So we really, it's anything as long as it gels.
So to answer the question, what we like to listen to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that brings us to about an hour. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in. Robbie is a cop, says 45 minutes is way too long. I agree. Thank you for throwing those comments in there all night, too. I really appreciate it. Guys, would you want to let everyone know what you have coming up and, what's next for you guys? And, we'll close it out from there.
All right, so like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have our next singles coming out, this Ghoul Car. You can be able to check it out on any streaming service, Bandcamp, or our website, www.gravelgutt.com. Two keys. And eventually that is going to be leading into a full-length album. We're gonna slowly trickle some singles out, and then that's gonna be the big bang, big finale. Is gonna be our first full length.
Oh, okay. I actually brought up a good point. I want to touch on this too. The singles versus album thing. Like we're thinking about doing the same thing. We're just gonna release singles until there's an album, and then just package as an album. Is that similar?
You put yourself in the spotlight. You're always giving out content, and then in the end, you're left with a nice full length that anyone can enjoy. And it's great.
Yep, well put. All right, there is Taylor, Zach, Paul, and Chad of Gravel Gutt. Thank you guys so much. Next week we got Johnny Five the Philosopher, and let's we would love to do another show with you guys. I fucking love it. I love it. Yep.
Anytime.
Reach out and keep in touch, guys. Thank you so much.
All right.